Hi, I'm Dan Nardiello and you're watching Stretty News TV.
Hi, welcome to Stretty News TV with Serge. Today we're going to be talking about the transfer special, discussing everything that's gone on in the summer so far, with who United have been interested in, and who have been linked to, and who is most likely to come, and also to answer a few questions which you guys have posed to us, to see if we have any answers, or if we can give our opinion on what you want to hear. So let's start with the players that we've been linked with. So we've been linked with, let's say, half of Germany and half of Holland so far. I mean, we've been linked with the likes of Toni Kroos from Bayern Munich. He's not the only one from Bayern Munich. We've been linked with Thomas Muller, Ian Robin, and lots of other names. We've also been linked with Jordi Clasie from the Holland squad. I think he plays for Feyenoord or PSV, one of the two. We've been linked with the winger Alexis Sanchez, and also Atletico Madrid's Miranda, Konoplyanka from Dnipro, Luke Shaw, Fabregas, Vidal and Rumours. An assortment of names for us to get on with. So let's start with Toni Kroos, a box-to-box player. We all thought the deal was done. The deal was done, I reckon, under David Moyes. However, that was scuppered when LVG came in, and I don't think he quite fancied him. LVG, Louis van Gaal, is notorious for liking pace in his team. Unfortunately, I think he finds Toni Kroos a bit slow, and he would like a centre mid who's a bit more pacey, a bit more attacking, something a bit more about them than Toni Kroos. Thomas Muller, he's played striker, but he can really play centre mid. That was his original position, but he's not the type of player that we were going to go for. Jordi Clasie. Now, he's a really interesting player, and he's only came on the scene since I started watching the Holland squad, and he seems a really impressive player in terms of his ball play. He's able to really top passes. He's also quick as well, which I like. So he would be a good player for me for United to sign. Alexis Sanchez from Barcelona. He's available for quite a reasonable fee. Barca are willing to take offers on him. But he's not the only one that we've been interested in. Also, Cesc Fabregas, who was recently told that he could find a new club. Very interesting that, because last season we went on a wild goose chase trying to sign Cesc Fabregas, and it went tits up. It didn't happen, and we really made ourselves look silly. Now, he's come back into the frame, and we actually don't seem to be interested in him. Now, I don't know whether we're bluffing or what, but I really like Cesc Fabregas. I think he's a top player, and if anything, for 30 million, we could really get a top player in our squad. And he's a top centre mid. Might not be the centre mid that we need in terms of strength and trying to get the ball off people and whatnot, but he's a fantastic passer of the ball, fantastic at attacking. He's fantastic with the link play between the midfielders, number 10s and the strikers. So I really like Cesc Fabregas, and I think he'd be a top player for us to sign. Miranda, now he's been instrumental for Atletico this year in their trophy-winning season. And however, at the age of 29, I think he is, I don't think we should be going for him. The reason that I think that is because I believe that we should be going for younger players. There's lots of top players out there. I mean, look at Eliquim Mangala from Porto. He's a very young defender. Chelsea also rumoured to be interested in him, and so is City. I really believe we should be trying to snap someone like him up. I really believe he's a top player, and he's young as well. I like Eliquim Mangala, if I said it right. A couple of my friends I've got a couple of friends from Portugal, they really rate him as well. So I think he'd be a great addition to the squad. Konoplyanka. Now, I saw him play Ukraine against England, and I really thought he was a good player. Yeah, he did do a couple of things which are Ashley Young-esque, where he kind of cut back inside, but he seems to have that extra added pace to him, and also lots of skill to it. I quite like that as well. So I really believe that he would be a great addition to the squad as well. I mean, I believe that our positions where we really need to kind of invest in would be centre mids, left back, and also maybe a couple of wingers to give Ashley Young and Antonio Valencia a bit of a run for the money, because they seem to, there doesn't seem to be anybody else that seems to be challenging them for their positions. So I believe that we should be also trying to strengthen those positions as well. Luke Shaw. Now, this is a really strange one because it all seems to be a done deal. Most of the media are reporting that the Luke Shaw deal is set to be completed. But we can't quite understand the hold-up. Now today, Ricky Lambert signed for Liverpool, and if you read the statement from Southampton, they stated that they would not be, it would not be their preference, shall we say, to get involved in any transfer activity without a manager in place. Now, whether the Shaw deal goes through anyhow, or whether they're waiting for a manager to get put in place for it to go through is up in the air. It's a guess. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, as far as lots of the media are aware, it's a done deal. So hopefully Luke Shaw will be in Manchester United playing next year. Now there's one player in Italy who I think is a top player, and I'm sure lots of other people think he's a top player, and that's Arturo Vidal. Now he plays for Juventus, a really top centre mid. He's a real grafter and a real bull in the middle. He loves the challenges, he's strong and aggressive, and I believe that's the type of player we need. Unfortunately, when we signed Marouane Fellaini, who was meant to take up that type of role, seems to be beaten for most headers, and it doesn't seem to get stuck in half as much as we expected him to get stuck in. So Arturo Vidal can come at a price of, it's touted £50 million, was the figure that we heard. Well, you know, we paid 43 for Mata, 50 million for Vidal. Sounds expensive, I know, but everyone knows that we've got money to spend, and that, you know, that most players are going to have to come at a high price this season. So Arturo Vidal, great investment for Manchester United if we were to go for him. In terms of centre backs, we were linked with a number of centre backs. One of them was Ezekiel Garay of Benfica, and also Matt Hummels of Dortmund. Now, Garay, I saw him in the Europa League play Tottenham, and he seemed a really top defender. I saw him score a couple of goals as well, and he really seemed a commanding centre half, someone who could have that bit of experience to play alongside someone like Jones in the centre of the park, almost to, you know, tutor him or whatever, to get him up to the level that he needs to be at. And Matt Hummels as well, top Dortmund defender. I don't think anyone would question that. Everyone would welcome Matt Hummels in the United squad. So I really rate Matt, and I think he'd be a great addition. Moving on. So who is actually likely to come? I think that's quite an important question, because it's all as well as counting lots of names, but I think it's important we actually know who is more likely to come, and who would be, which club would be willing to actually sell to Manchester United. Luke Shaw, as I said, I reckon that's a done deal. Konoplyanka, the chairman of Dnipro, was recently quoted as coming out and saying if they meet the fee that we want for him and they agree personal terms, there's nothing much else that they can do. So he also looks quite likely to come. Fabregas was again told, according to Sky and lots of other media outlets, that he should find a new club. Almost being forced out, and that's looking likely because they're wanting to sign Koke from Atletico Madrid as part of the deal. Fabregas going one way, and them receiving the money to pay for that deal. Jordi Clasie. Now, Dutch clubs are quite feederish clubs. The Dutch league isn't, you know, the most competitive league, shall we say? So my guess is that they're going to want to sell for the right price. So I believe that Jordi Clasie could be available for the centre mid. I really like Jordi Clasie. I think he'd really fit the bill just right. Even more so, I really want to go for Arturo Vidal. I think he's a top player, and at 50 million, I know it's a lot of money, but he'll really repay in leaps and bounds. So I believe that those 5 players, Luke Shaw, Konoplyanka, Fabregas, Clasie and Vidal, would really add some quality to the squad. And in the centre-back area, I would like Matt Hummels or Ezekiel Garay, who, although he looks like he's going to Zenit, I like him, and I think we should either try and go for him or Matt Hummels. Now, I'm going to move on to some Twitter questions. Sean at Sean MUFC said, if no signings were made by Ed this year, do you think we could improve on 7th place last year? Obviously this year under Louis van Gaal. I think we could. mainly because Louis van Gaal comes with a philosophy of football. I think last year, we looked confused on the field. None of the players seemed to know what they wanted to do with the ball when we went forward. So I believe with Louis van Gaal, who has a proper philosophy, comes in, really funny guy, really interesting guy as well. His press conferences are going to be a delight to watch. I think we could finish top 4 easily this year if we didn't even finish, if we didn't even sign anybody. But we want to be doing better than top 4. We want to be winning the league. So let's move on. Haley89 underscore MUFC. What wingers and what centre-mids do you think will realistically get? In terms of wingers, Alexis Sanchez, I don't know. Maybe he could be a shot. I really like Alexis. I think he's a top player at Barcelona. I can't understand why they'd want to get rid of him. So in terms of the width, also Konopli-Anka, skillful, probably easily bought, I reckon. And wouldn't it be nice to get him under the Scouse, who's noses as well. Centre mids. Who would I really like? I'd like Fabregas. I know I would really like Fabregas. I know people will say that we shouldn't really be going for him or whatever not, but I really like Fabregas. I think he's a top player, and I think he's exactly the type of person who can, link the ball between the centre mids, the number 10s and the strikers. So Cesc Fabregas definitely, and also someone who with a bit of strength, Arturo Vidal, to be alongside him, to break up the play and to distribute the balls left and right. So those would be my wingers and centre mids. At STZA1986, that's Scott, has said, would you rather the signings and Moyes in charge, or a completely new era under LVG? So I assume by that it means the signings that Moyes would have made, i.e. Toni Kroos and William Carvalho and whoever else who recently cooled our interest in. Who would I? It's a tough one, that. Mainly, I probably would go still with LVG. LVG comes with a proven record. The player's going to respect him. I just think Toni Kroos would have wanted a way out, to be honest. So he would have gone anywhere that offered the right money. It was recently said that he wanted to play under David Moyes. Really? Would he really want to play under David Moyes? I don't know anybody that would have really wanted to play under David Moyes. So I'm still going to go for LVG. And the last question is by I Chew It. What player do we need the most? So everybody else said, who would I prefer to get the most? It's a no-brainer. It's got to be Arturo Vidal.
Yeah. And Dave Sexton succeeded him. So, I mean, what were your kind of abiding memories of playing under both those managers?
Well, Tommy wasn't there that long.